I was raped by my father, and he doesn't want to admit it's wrong. He says I am his property. My name is Amaka, and I'm 24. I grew up in a house where fear sat at the dinner table with us. My father's voice was always loud, filling every corner of our small apartment with threats and insults. My mother bore the brunt of it. I watched her shrink under his rage, her once bright eyes dimming each time he raised his voice, or worse, his hand. One night, I woke up to the sound of something shattering. My heart pounded as I tiptoed to the parlor, peeking from behind the curtain. My father was standing over my mother, his hand clenched into a fist. The TV remote lay broken on the floor. "Why do you always make me do this, he barked. Mama wiped her bleeding lip and kept quiet. I knew what would happen next. She would wait until he stormed out, then she would grab her wrapper and disappear into the night. She always left when it got too much and would come back when everything is calm again. The next afternoon, I was playing 10-10 with my younger brother when I heard Mama's voice outside. My stomach twisted. I ran to the door and saw her standing there, her eyes swollen, her hands trembling. "Amaka, go inside," she whispered, but I stayed. My father was leaning on the doorframe, smirking. "You know you'll always come back," he said, stepping aside to let her in. She hesitated for just a second before walking past him. I knew why she returned. She was thinking of us, of me and my siblings. But I wished she would stay gone. Because each time she left and came back, my father grew bolder. And each time I lost a little more hope. I was 12 when my life ended and began at the same time. Before that night, I was just a girl who played in the compound and helped Mama cook in the evening. But after that night, I became something else. It started with an argument. I don't even remember what it was about. Maybe food, maybe money. My father's voice boomed through the house like a thunderclap, shaking everything, even my bones. Mama didn't argue for long. She never did. She knew the pattern. Once his anger reached a certain point, she had to leave before it turned into fists. She grabbed her slippers and wrapper, and just like before, she left. I heard the front gate creak as she disappeared into the night. Usually, I would wait up for her, but that night, something felt different. The house was too quiet, too still. I stayed in the room I shared with my siblings, curled up on the thin mattress, trying to sleep. Then I heard heavy footsteps. The door creaked open, and my father's shadow stretched across the floor. I wasn't scared at first. Why would I be? This was my father. "Amaka," he called softly, but his voice was different, lower, like someone who is whispering a secret. "Come here." I sat up slowly, rubbing my eyes. "Papa, come here," he repeated. Something inside me tensed, but I obeyed. I was used to obeying. I stepped forward, my bare feet brushing against the cold cement floor. He placed a hand on my shoulder, then ran it down my arm. My skin prickled. "You know I love you, ABI," he murmured. I nodded, but my throat felt dry. The next few moments didn't make sense. His hands were rough, moving in ways that didn't feel right. My mind struggled to catch up. I didn't understand. How could I? This was my father, the man who was supposed to protect me. He laid me down and had his way against my will. When it was over, I felt like I had left my body. I sat there, staring at nothing. My nightgown was rumpled, my legs were trembling with blood dripping on it. He leaned in close and whispered, "Don't tell your mother. This is our little secret." Then he left, just like that, as if nothing had happened. I wanted to scream, but my voice was gone. That night, something inside me shattered. And I knew, deep in my heart, that my life would never be the same again. I don't remember sleeping that night. I just lay there, staring at the ceiling, feeling like a stranger in my own body. The next morning, the sun rose like it always did. The compound woke up with the usual sounds, kettles whistling, radios blasting, morning prayers, children crying, but I felt different. I wanted to believe it was all a nightmare, that nothing had happened. But my body knew the truth. And when my father walked past me in the morning like everything was normal, I knew this was my new reality. Mama returned later that morning, carrying her usual shame like a heavy load on her back. Her eyes were red, and she moved cautiously, avoiding my father's gaze. She didn't even notice that I was different. That evening, as I was washing plates in the backyard, I felt a presence behind me. My hands went cold. I turned and saw my father standing there, his face calm, like he hadn't stolen something from me the night before. "Amaka," he called in that quiet voice. I froze. "You didn't tell your mother, right?" I shook my head quickly. "Good girl." He smiled. "You see, you're my daughter. You belong to me. There's nothing wrong with what we did." My stomach twisted. If you tell anyone, I will kill you. And nobody will believe you. I gripped the wet plate in my hand, my nails digging into it. He walked away like nothing had happened, like he hadn't just threatened his own child. That was the moment I realized I was alone. Days passed, then weeks. I became a shadow of myself. I stopped playing with my siblings, stopped talking much. I avoided my father at all costs. But it didn't stop him. Sometimes, I'd be in the kitchen pounding yam when he would brush past me deliberately. Other times, he would come into the room late at night, sitting at the edge of my bed, running his hand through my hair while I pretended to be asleep. Every time I looked at my mother, I wanted to scream, to tell her, to beg her to take me away. But I remembered her bruised arms, the nights she ran out crying. If she couldn't save herself, how could she save me? So I stayed silent, and my father knew I would. But something inside me was boiling. I didn't know when, and I didn't know how, but I knew one thing. I couldn't live like this forever. The fear followed me everywhere. It was in the way I flinched when my father's shadow passed by, in the way my hands shook when he called my name. I was drowning in silence, in secrets, in shame. But deep inside me, something else was growing, anger. I knew I couldn't fight him physically. I was just a girl, and he was a man who had no conscience. But I also knew I couldn't keep living like this. Something had to change. It was late at night. The house was quiet. My siblings were asleep, curled up on our thin mattress. I lay awake, waiting, my body was tense. And then I heard it, the soft creak of the door. I squeezed my eyes shut, praying he would change his mind, praying that maybe, just maybe, tonight would be different. But it wasn't. I felt the mattress dip as he sat at the edge of the bed. I felt his hand on my arm. This time, I didn't freeze. I sat up quickly, pulling away from his touch. "Stop," I said, my voice shaking but firm. He chuckled. "Amaka, don't start. You know you like it." My stomach turned. "I don't. I never have. And I will never do it again." His face darkened instantly. He grabbed my wrist, squeezing it so tightly that I felt my bones shift. "You are my daughter. You bear my name. That means you belong to me." I yanked my hand away. "No, I don't." For the first time, I saw something in his eyes, shock. He wasn't expecting resistance. He was used to me being afraid. "You will do what I say." His voice was low and deadly. "I will not." His hand flew across my face before I even saw it coming. A sharp slap that sent me sprawling onto the floor. My siblings stirred but didn't wake up. He loomed over me, breathing heavily, his fists clenched. "If you ever open your mouth, Amaka, I will kill you," he whispered. I believed him. But I also knew that this was it. If I stayed, I would never escape him. And if I never escaped, I would never survive. The next morning, I made a decision. I would tell Mama. I found her in the kitchen, humming softly as she stirred a pot of ogbono soup. She looked tired, older than her years. "Mama," I called, my voice barely above a whisper. She turned, wiping her hands on her wrapper. "What is it?" I hesitated. I had imagined this moment 1,000 times, practiced what I would say. But now that I was here, the words felt heavy. "Mama, Papa he's been doing something to me. Something bad." Her smile faded. She set the spoon down slowly. "What do you mean?" I swallowed hard. He comes to me at night. He touches me and he." "Shut up." The words stung more than his slap. "Do you know what you're saying?" Her voice was sharp, panicked. "Your father? The man feeding you? Do you want to destroy this family?" I felt like I had been punched in the stomach. "Mama, it's true." "Shut up, Amaka. You think you can lie against my husband? The devil is using you." Tears filled my eyes. She was choosing him. She was choosing blindness. She turned back to the pot of soup and stirred as if nothing had happened. As if I hadn't just told her my world was burning. That was the moment I knew Mama was never going to save me. I had to save myself. After that day, I stopped speaking. Not just to my mother, but to everyone. My heart was shattered, and my home felt like a prison. I moved like a ghost through the house, avoiding my father, avoiding my mother, avoiding everything. But deep inside me, something had shifted. I had reached my breaking point, and I knew I was leaving. For good. I didn't plan it. I just knew that if I didn't leave soon, I wouldn't survive. One night, I was in the room with my siblings when I heard the door creak open. My whole body went stiff. I didn't need to look. I knew who it was. He sat on the bed. "You've been avoiding me." I said nothing. "You think you can disrespect me?" His voice was thick with anger. "You belong to me, Amaka." This time I didn't plead. I didn't cry. I just stood up and faced him. No, I don't. His face twisted. What did you say? I took a step back, my heart pounding. I said I don't belong to you. I never have. And I will never let you touch me again. He lunged at me. But this time I fought back. I kicked, I scratched, I screamed. My siblings woke up, crying in confusion. He slapped me hard, and I tasted blood. But I didn't stop. I fought harder, screaming until the entire compound woke up. I heard the sound of doors opening. Neighbors were coming out. My father froze. He knew they would come knocking. He glared at me, breathing heavily. You will regret this. But I wasn't afraid anymore. I had made up my mind. That night, I packed a small bag, just one wrapper, a blouse, and the little money I had saved from helping Mama sell in the market. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I had to go. I tiptoed to the front door, my heart racing. The house was silent. I turned the knob slowly, praying it wouldn't creak. As I stepped outside, the cool night air hit my skin. I took a deep breath. For the first time, I felt really free. I ran. I ran past the compound, past the street, past the places I had known all my life. I didn't stop until my legs burned, until my chest ached. I had no plan, no destination. But I knew one thing. I would never return to that house. I was free. And for the first time, I could finally breathe. The streets of Lagos at night were alive with shadows and whispers. As I walked through the dark, unfamiliar roads, my stomach churned with fear. Where would I go? Who would take me in? I had no answers, only the certainty that I would rather die on these streets than go back home. I wandered until my legs gave up, collapsing on a wooden bench outside a locked shop. I wrapped my arms around myself, shivering as the cold breeze swept through the empty street. What are you doing here? A voice startled me. I looked up to see a woman staring at me, her face partly hidden in the shadows. She looked middle-aged, dressed in a faded wrapper and blouse. I swallowed. Auntie, I have nowhere to go. She sighed, adjusting the tray of oranges on her head. Young girl like you, for this kind place? You want to make bad people carry you. Tears stung my eyes. I just need somewhere to stay for the night. Please. She studied me for a long moment, then nodded toward the small kiosk beside us. Come follow me. I no get much, but you fit sleep for my shop tonight. I hesitated, then followed her. I didn't know if I could trust her, but I was too tired to care. She laid out an old mat on the floor, and I curled up on it. Sleep, Pekin, she murmured. Tomorrow we go find way for you. For the first time in a long while, I slept without fear. Morning came too soon. I woke to the smell of akara frying and the distant sound of bus conductors shouting at passengers. The woman, who introduced herself as Mama Esther, handed me a plate of bread and akara. Eat, she said, sitting beside me. I took a bite, the warmth of the food soothing my empty stomach. You go follow me go market today, she continued. You sabi sell? I nodded quickly. Yes, Ma. From that day, I worked with Mama Esther, helping her sell fruits in the busy Balagan market. She didn't ask too many questions, and I didn't tell her much. But in her little space, I found safety. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. I learned how to navigate the market, how to bargain, how to survive. But deep inside me, I knew this wasn't the end of my story. I didn't just want to survive, I wanted to live. And one day, I would find a way to help other girls like me. Years passed, but the scars of my past never truly faded. They lived beneath my skin, whispering reminders of all I had endured. But instead of letting them break me, I used them to build myself. Lagos had taught me how to survive. Mama Esther had given me shelter, and the market had given me skills. But I wanted more. I wanted to turn my pain into something meaningful. One afternoon, as I was arranging oranges at the stall, I overheard two women talking. That girl don't disappear again, one of them said, shaking her head. Na so dem dey do, the other replied. Small girl like that, if he no be uncle, he go be pastor. All of dem dey find person Pekin spoil. I felt something in my chest tighten. I knew that story too well. That evening, as I sat outside Mama Esther's kiosk, I realized I couldn't keep quiet anymore. If nobody had saved me, maybe I could save someone else. I started small, talking to young girls at the market, watching for signs of fear, for eyes that held the same darkness mine once did. Then I found a small NGO that helped abused girls. I shared my story with them, and they gave me the support I never knew I needed. With time, I went back to school, determined to become someone who could truly make a difference. 5 years after I ran away, I heard the news. My father was dead from heart attack. The man who had terrorized my life, who had stolen my innocence, was gone. Just like that. I should have felt relief. But all I felt was emptiness. He had died without facing the consequences of his actions. I traveled back to my hometown, not for him, but for closure. When I got there, I saw Mama. She looked older, thinner. The fire in her eyes was gone. She stared at me as if seeing a ghost. Amaka. Her voice was barely above a whisper. I stood there, waiting for her to say something. Maybe an apology, maybe regret. But she only looked away, her face full of shame. I didn't need her words anymore. I had already made peace with the fact that she was never going to be my savior. As I turned to leave, she called out, "You be strong, woman." I paused, then nodded. "Yes, Mama. I am." And I walked away, knowing I was never coming back. I built a life from the ashes of my past. I became an advocate, speaking for girls who had no voice. I turned my pain into a purpose. I am Amaka, and I survived.